The voicemail was recorded at 2:14 a.m. on November 23rd. Anthony Willis did not ask for the police. He did not ask for an ambulance. His voice was remarkably calm for a man who had just crashed his car into a ravine. The roots are breathing. They're breathing inside me. It would take investigators 3 weeks to find the Twisted Tree Inn. By then, it was nothing but ash and blackened foundation. What they reconstructed from Anthony's dash cam, phone records, and later testimonies was this. Anthony was a pharmacist. He was a man of strict routines, exact measurements, and logical conclusions. I left the clinic at exactly 4 p.m. The forecast said the snow wouldn't start until midnight. I thought I could make it over the pass by 8. But the weather in the Blue Ridge Mountains does not care about forecasts. By 6 p.m., visibility was 0. The snow was falling so thick, it looked like static on a television screen.
That was when he saw the neon sign cutting through the whiteout. The Twisted Tree Inn. He made a choice that felt entirely rational. He pulled over. "Hell of a night to be out, friend! Come in! Come in! The hearth is warm." Sinclair Sawford was a barrel-chested man with a thick beard and a jovial laugh. He looked exactly like the kind of man you'd want to find in a storm. Sitting by the fire was his wife, Sandra. She was in a wheelchair, staring blankly at the flames. She didn't blink when Anthony walked in. "Don't mind Sandra. Her mind wanders these days. The Alzheimer's is a cruel thief. But she's still my girl." I felt sorry for him. He was just a devoted husband playing a bad hand. He brought me a bowl of stew. It smelled like pork and rosemary. Anthony ate it. He noticed it had a strange, sweet, metallic aftertaste, but he hadn't eaten in 9 hours. He filed the odd taste away as a local recipe. Sinclair showed him to a room on the 2nd floor. "Lock the door, Mr. Willis. The wind blows the doors open in this old place."
Anthony closed the door. He turned the deadbolt. It was only as he lay in bed that he realized the mechanism was backward. The keyhole was on the inside. The thumb turn was on the hallway side. I told myself it was just shoddy craftsmanship, an old building put together by amateurs. I was just being paranoid. At 11:30 p.m., Anthony heard the scratching. It wasn't a knock. It was fingernails dragging down the oak of his door. "Don't sleep, city boy. Don't let him feed you. It breathes in the dark." Anthony froze. He recognized the voice. It was a bald, haggard man he had seen drinking in the corner of the tavern downstairs earlier. I thought he was just a drunk local, a meth addict from the valley looking to rob a stranded traveler. Heavy footsteps thundered up the stairs. "Get away from his door, Chuck!" "I'm so sorry, Mr. Willis. He forgets his medication. I'll put him out in the shed to sober up." Anthony listened as Sinclair dragged the screaming man down the hall. Sinclair seemed like a protector. He was keeping me safe from a lunatic. 10 minutes later, Sinclair knocked softly. He offered Anthony a steaming mug. "You look shaken. Drink this. Hot apple cider. My grandfather's recipe. It'll settle your nerves and put you right to sleep." Anthony was a pharmacist. He knew better than to take an unlabeled draft from a stranger. But my chest was tight. The storm was howling against the glass. I just wanted the anxiety to stop. I just wanted to sleep. "Thank you, Sinclair. Just 1 cup." That was the last decision Anthony made with full information. He woke up at 1:42 a.m. The room was freezing. The fire had died. I tried to sit up. My legs didn't move. They didn't feel numb. They felt anchored. He pulled the heavy quilt back. The veins in his calves were glowing with a faint, electric blue light. Tiny, hair-like threads were growing out of his pores, sinking deep into the mattress. "Oh, God, what is this?" Panic overtook him. He dragged his upper body toward the edge of the bed, pulling his legs with his hands.
The blue thread snapped with a sound like wet celery. He hit the floor hard. He dragged himself to the window, looking out into the blizzard. The shed out back was illuminated by a sickening blue glow. Sinclair was there, and so was the bald man. The bald man wasn't a threat. He was the previous guest.
He was hung upside down from the rafters. Thick, glowing blue roots were wrapped around his torso, pulsing rhythmically. They were draining him into a wooden trough. Just a little more, Chuck. Sandra needs it. The tree needs it. The pieces fell together in Anthony's mind. The backward lock wasn't shoddy craftsmanship. It was a cage. The bald man's warning wasn't a threat. It was a desperate plea. Sinclair wasn't a serial killer acting out of pure malice. He was a husband terrified of losing his wife. The ancient, twisted tree beneath the inn fed on human electrical impulses, on memories. In return, it wept a sap that kept Sandra's dementia at bay. The stew Anthony had eaten, the cider he had drank, he hadn't been poisoned. He had been seeded.
I didn't scream. I knew if I made a sound, he would come back upstairs to harvest me. Anthony dragged himself out of the room, down the stairs. The front door was locked from the outside. He grabbed a heavy iron fire poker and shattered the dining room window. He threw himself into the snow. He crawled to his car, his legs entirely useless, trailing glowing blue sap in the white snow. He managed to start the engine and press the gas pedal with his hands. He drove for 4 miles before the paralysis reached his lungs, and he crashed into the ravine. Sinclair Sotford was never arrested. When police finally reached the coordinates Anthony provided, the inn was gone, burned to the foundation. There were no bodies found in the ashes. Anthony survived. He lives in a long-term care facility now.
He insists his wheelchair be kept far away from the courtyard garden, because on quiet nights, the nurses say his veins still glow blue under the skin.